Welcome to Synthetic Oil Protection. I'm your host Eben, and we're back with my beautiful 2013 SL550. And I tell you what, she's been easy so far, easy to maintain. So we got our AMSOIL biodegradable, low toxicity. This is a concentrate, super powerful, good for the long life for 18-wheelers. So this is the super high quality coolant, and this is what we're going to be putting in today. We're also going to be putting in the Dominator coolant boost. This is a proprietary tri-tiered surfactant technology. The first tier is your cold start. When you cold starts, this helps your car warm up to 54% faster. The other nice part to this stuff is it also has a mid-range, and then it has a high range for excessive heat driving, like here in Las Vegas. Today's 102 degrees. Yesterday was 115 degrees. So I'm getting to this car. So what we just did was we took off the belly pan and we sprayed our coil cleaner in here and we cleaned the radiator. So now the all the condensers, all your fins, all that stuff, your radiator is going to be a lot more efficient. So we got our nose chin skirt off this whole pan. About, God, what, 10 of these suckers or more. So they're little 8mm, so they just pop off real easy. We got done cleaning that. Now it's time to drain her down. So first, all we do, just open our bottle. You always want to open this when the car's cool. This has been sitting for about a half hour. So we open her up, boom. You can see that. Now, all we're gonna do, we're gonna come over here, and you got a little teeny petcock right here in the corner. And it's like this little teeny screw type thing. And I'm gonna give you a little light. And it's pretty easy to get to right there. And all you do is just turn that screw, and that's it. So here we go. We're gonna turn it until she gushes all over. Right there, that little black plastic screw. Should be able to turn it by finger. Pretty easy. Nope, I'm gonna need a pliers to turn that. Still nose, and this cracked it right there. And now she'll start leaking. She should go by needle nose. This is a lot easier to get into this angle. So it's like a little teeny half turn and it starts leaking. And then if you really want it to shoot out quick, say you're in a hurry to get it done, all you do is you go like this, and now you just undo it by hand and it should shoot out. Here we go. No. Is it gonna go? See the pull out? No. No, it won't go. So we're just gonna let it drain. We'll let her drain down for about 10 minutes probably. So you can see she's draining down. That's inside the reservoir. And one thing you can do is once this drains completely, what I actually like to do is I like to go ahead and dump a little distilled water down there. What that'll do is that'll get a little bit of the residual inside. Then we fill her up with distilled and then idle her, and then we're gonna drain her, run the heater core. This O-ring actually comes out on the cap here, and you'll see there's a little bit of pasty stuff there, and the actual coolant turns into like a jelly over time. So I actually wiped that off here. This O-ring looks really good. The car is only what, 8 years old, 40,000 miles, but you'll see some of that green jelly stuff did come out of there. So definitely wipe that down good. Put your rubber back on, and you'll have a nice clean seal, and you won't have any more corrosion. So now I wanted to show you how important this is. Now, this car only has 40,000 miles on it. And the stuff we're putting in is good in 18-wheelers up to 1 million miles, 8 years, 20,000 idle hours. And this is good in car light trucks for 150,000 miles. So these fluids actually oxidize exponentially, and they actually thicken. For every 18 degrees hotter a fluid runs, it oxidizes twice the rate. So these cars run at about 194 degrees Fahrenheit. An 18-wheeler, they run at about 212 to 225, so much hotter. And I wanted to show you how few miles are on this, how clean this little paper towel is. and I want to show you all this kind of green stuff that's already building up on this. So I wanted to show you how quickly that can already start. So this is a very new car with only 40,000 miles. So it's so important, especially in a high temperature area, to keep this all super clean. So that's all the fluid down there. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop the car level, let it drain a little more, and then we're gonna dump some distilled water through. So now we dropped her perfectly level, and now she's still leaking real well. So we're gonna let her keep leaking until she stops. And then we're gonna go ahead and dump about 2 quarts of distilled water through. And then we're gonna actually go underneath there, cap her off, tighten it up, fill her all the way up with distilled water. We're gonna go drive her around the block, circulate those fluids, drain her again, and we're gonna continue to drain and fill her until that fluid runs really nice and clear. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put in the good stuff. She's just barely dripping. So I wanted to show you what we did. We went ahead and jacked her up from the rear corner, and I jacked her up from the main aluminum brace that goes into the chassis. So basically that A-arm that goes out is going right into the frame, and that's where I jacked it up from, right there. So we got her nice and high. All our fluid is out. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and dump some distilled water down through. So all we do is grab the tripod. We come right here, and I'll show you what we do. Stick it right here like so. And this one is one of the ones you don't have to do anything creative or special here. All you're doing is opening a nice fresh bottle of distilled water. And the reason why you use distilled water is because it has no minerals, no calcium that can actually build up in your system. So you always want to use distilled water. And we're actually going to be mixing it with the concentrate in a minute. But here we go. We're going to throw in about a couple quarts. So what that's going to do is that's going to get the little bit of residual that's in the radiator. You can hear she's trickling back down through, and I'll show you how clear she is. Now that's not going to get it all out. There's actually a few quarts that are still in the heater core, which is back in the firewall, and there's some coolant that's inside the block. But I just want to show you what's coming out now, how much clearer it is. You can see right there, it's a lot clearer. And yeah, so we're gonna let that run a little bit, and then we're gonna go ahead and jack her back up. We're gonna close that valve, fill her all the way up with distilled water. We're gonna motor her up and let her idle and turn the heater core on. Now all we do is close her up. Just go here, turn this little screw, tighten her up, just like so. You can just barely get it by finger. And then now we're gonna close it all the way so it's up and down with our pliers, and it's time to fill her up. Just so you know, the total fill on this car is 13.7 quarts. So it's quite a bit, but you can only get so much out. So I would say we only got about 8 quarts out. So now we're gonna fill her up and take a look here and see what she takes. So here's our first 4 quarts going in. This is 1 gallon. All right, that's 1 gallon in. And now remember, distilled water, so you don't have any calcium buildup. And now here's our 2nd gallon. All right, there she goes. Now she overflowed. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw our cap on. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and motor her up with our heater on high. So here we go. Let's start her up. we got her on high. The hot air is coming out, and that means the water is going through the heater core. If you turn the heat on high and you don't feel any hot air, you got to watch it. You have an air bubble in the system, and then how you burp it is all you do is squeeze the hose a little bit. So you'll squeeze the hose here, squeeze your hoses, and it'll actually get the air out. Now, I've never had any problems burping the system on one of these cars. I've done a CLS 550. There was no problems at all, so I'm going to say it's the same thing. But here we can take a look and see if it sucked down any fluid. A little bit. And we'll top it off a little more. And there we go. And now what we're going to do is we're going to let her idle for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to go ahead and drain her down again. All right, I wanted to show you, you'll see at the bottom there's some particles that came out. So there's definitely some extra stuff that came out. So that other drain and fill was definitely worth it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fill her up again with distilled water. So this is going to be the second time. And then depending on the way it looks, if it looks really good, we're just going to go ahead and fill her up with the good stuff. So we're up to about 110 degrees out now. Woo! Had to take a break. So now we got her corked up. We'll fill her up here. And be time to turn her on again and put the heater on high. All right, so you can see it's pretty darn clear. This is our second drain and fill, so I'm happy with this. I'm gonna go ahead and fill it now. Just got back after, had to take a shower and cool down. It was 112 degrees out right now. Woo! So here we go, let's fill her up. All right, it's that time to fill her up with the good stuff. The low toxicity biodegradable coolant. This is the polypropylene glycol, and this is a long life formula, pet friendly, won't hurt the animals. So actually regular coolant will actually burst the internals of an animal if it licks it up. So just in case this car leaks, we have the extra protection. And on to the back. What ratio are we going to run? We are going to run a 33% ratio. Since we're here in Las Vegas, we don't need the cold protection. So we're going to be good to about 0 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm not going to be taking this car up in the mountains. It's a rear-wheel drive car. So, but if you live somewhere real cold, you can always go 60% and have much more protection. Good to negative 60 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. So you'll see it meets all the Mercedes specification right here. Cummins, Pack Car, all the toughest specifications. So we're going to be doing, this is a 13.7 quart total fill. We're going to do our 4.5 quarts of concentrate. And then, but first, we're going to go ahead and put in our Dominator coolant boost, which I almost forgot about. It's 113 degrees out right now. I can't even think almost. The Dominator coolant boost, we're going to be putting in 20 ounces of this. So for every quart of distilled water, you put in 2 ounces of boost. For every quart of concentrate, you put in 1 ounce. So we're going to be putting in one whole 16-ounce bottle right now. And it's this beautiful kind of tri-tiered surfactant. And what it does is it allows the water to get closer to the aluminum. And the closer the water gets to the aluminum, you have a better heat transfer. So your car will warm up quicker. It'll also pull more heat out of the cylinders. So you'll have a much more tighter piston or much more tighter cylinder on the piston. So if you figure it's going to be cooler going through the block won't be as expanded as much. So you'll actually have better compression, and I notice a lot better idle. It idles smoother and just revs up better. So that's our 20 ounces. Now we'll put in our extra 4 ounces. And now for our extra 4 ounces. So here we go. Let's see. That's at 14, so we put in 2. We're going to 12. And we're good. There's that 12. Perfect. So we got our 21 ounces of Dominator coolant boost in. Now we do our full gallon of our biodegradable coolant, which we're good now for 5 years. It's this beautiful gold, and it's very smooth. It pours smooth, and you'll just notice the way your motor revs, it'll rev a lot smoother. And especially with more distilled water, you'll actually have a higher specific heat capacity. So the specific heat of concentrate is about 0.6. Water is 1. So water has a higher specific heat capacity. So theoretically, if you're racing, you would want to run almost straight distilled water, and you'd want to run only concentrate boost. But you won't have the high heat protection. So water, distilled water, actually boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Under pressure, a 12-15 pound system, that bumps it another 15-20 degrees. So you won't boil until 235, but with the concentrate here, you have a little bit higher boiling point. So the high heat protection is minimal, but the biggest part is the cold protection, which we want to make sure the car is at least good to 0 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's just gargling in, nice and slow. Takes a little bit of time. It's like burping a baby. So there's our 1 gallon, and all we need to do is add 1 quart. Got our half a quart going in for 4.5 quarts. A little bit more. And we're good. And now the rest is distilled water. So we have exactly about 5 quarts in so far. I think it's going to take about 7 quarts. So we'll see here. Here we go. Up. All right, we almost overflowed. So now we're going to start her up, and that's going to burp the system. So now all we do is just motor her up. And I'll show you what we got here. So you can see it sucked it down a little bit, but it looks pretty good. So now, we got our heater on high right now. We're gonna make sure it's blowing nice and hot and all the fluid's going through the heater core. You always wanna make sure that. So in the garage right now, it's 107 degrees right here inside the garage. So we got our heat is coming out. So we're good. The car's warming up nice. It's gonna warm up really fast with the Dominator coolant boost. So what I'll do is I'll turn off the heater and I'll show you how fast it warms up. It's gonna go like a rocket because the tiered surfactant really helps it warm up quicker. Look at how quick that thing's warming up. It's gonna be at 80 in probably less than a minute. So it makes a huge difference in your warm-up times, which keeps you off idle up as much, and it'll actually save you gas money, because in the winter, you don't have to wait as long to warm up. So we're at about 30 seconds. So yeah, it really goes quick. So we're gonna take a look at our level real quick. See what we got over here. We're looking good. Our level is good. Well, now it's time to go shredding around the block. All right, we're gonna drop the top. Let's do it. Driving for 20 minutes. Here's the real temperature. Let's go rip around. Let's do it. Here we go. Woo. All right. Got her all dialed in. Let's go rip. Alrighty. So it's a normal day out here. It's only 107. I thought it was 111. It was a little bit of a scare from yesterday. So we'll give you some driving impressions, see what we got. Yeah, I mean, this car just is so smooth, and now it's even smoother. It's hard to believe. So we'll do a little sport mode action up here, let you see what it sounds like. But yeah, so far the car's great. Just had a little weird battery light that came up the other day when I took the battery off. Scared the living heck out of me, so that was a little weird. But everything else is great. We did the K&N air filter on it. We did the AMSOIL engine flush. We did the rear differential gear loop. Now these videos are still coming up. I post them about twice a week, so I know a lot of you have asked, Eben, I haven't seen it. Well, I post about twice a week. So right now, we're gonna get into her a little bit. We'll see what she sounds like. We got her in sport suspension, sport mode. We'll do a little tip in and let you know how she feels. Oh my God. Oh, there's eco mode, all right. What the heck? Oh my God, it's so smooth, I almost can't even feel it running. Holy shit. Wow, I thought the motor turned off there. Wow. Woo. Woo. That mother, this thing's pulling so smooth. My Corvette would never make power like that before because it had pre-detonation. But man, this thing is just pulling so good. It's unbelievable. With the turbos at this altitude, we're at 2,000 feet. It's about 107 degrees out, so that's like being at about 10,000 feet at normal temperature. So we'll shoot up here, and we will get back to a main street, but I'll give you a little 0 to 60. This thing's running so good. Now, keep in mind, you can't put down the power because there's no tire on it. It's a 500 tread wear tire, but I'll give you whatever it's got. So I'll tell you how quick 60 comes. We'll do a little 3, 2, 1. All right. So we're going uphill, headed west, coming to a stop. 3, 2, 1. Feels great. We'll do a little manual mode action. We'll do a 4th gear roll on. Here we go, we'll roll 4th down. Wow. So smooth. Oh my God. Woo. All right, that's good on the turbos. That's a little tough on the turbo with that type of heat. So yeah, if you want to check out the full playlist on this car, go ahead and click on it right here in the middle. And remember, we're going to be putting all these videos up. And if you want to be in the end of the month giveaway, all you do is leave a comment within the first 30 minutes of any of my new videos. I randomly select people to be in the giveaway. So you just never know who could be in to win. And we'll see you back right here on synthetic oil protection. Oh, I almost forgot, we did the trans fluid on this car too. Check out that video. All right, we'll see you back. Cheers to protection, protection, protection.